I bought this land in 2009. I put in a driveway and put in a house and started Stonecipher Farm, and we grow mixed certified organic vegetables, some fruit. We grow ginger and turmeric. Me and my wife work here full time. We have no other jobs. We're proud of that. We employ 5 people full time. We have 5 kids. I was right on the tail of that first flush of young organic farmers. So when I moved here, no one else had been here for more than a year or two. And so we all kind of were like that first flush of organic farmers. There definitely were other veggie farmers here in the past. Of course, the town really couldn't be better. I hear horror stories of living in other towns and what farming in towns that are not farm friendly is like. That's the opposite in Bowdoinham. It's absolutely, definitely a part of the town's identity and pride. Not just that there's farming, but that there's so many small and so many organic farms. And so it's neat to think of being, here from the beginning of that. Even though this is the smallest greenhouse, this is the, we grow a lot of ginger, but this is the ginger that is further ahead. I'm the largest ginger grower in Maine, which is a little bit like being the biggest fish in a small pond, but I mean, this alone is probably more than anyone else grows, and then we grow 2 more of the bigger greenhouses of it. Let's go inside the nursery greenhouse. This is where we start our seedlings. There's the tomatoes that wish they were planted out already, and some flowers that we had every intention of planting out there between crops and haven't gotten in. You want to show her your baby chicks?
The baby chicks are over there. The babies are so cute. And so fluffy too. She's called Paxi.
After my little brother. He named him Paxi.
Let's put him back.
We've transitioned into a no-till system, and so now we're doing like a layered compost planting system, which means that weeds aren't as much of a concern. And I could go more into that or not, but like that's how much weeding I've done in here. So because of that, it's really easy to grow these intercrops in here, because sometimes you have to put down plastic, and once you put down plastic, then putting secondary crops in gets harder. I like to grow celery on one side of the tomatoes and basil on the other side. You got to cut every single sucker, and so you cut off that sucker, give it a little twist. Same thing here, cut off that sucker. These have been twisted in maybe 10 days, and they're this far behind. You really have to do this kind of every week. That's why tomatoes are so expensive. Reason number 130 why tomatoes are expensive.
Mama, is the big one not ready to be eaten?
Oh, look, Hugo. These ones are almost ripe.
Can I see?
Yeah,
Where are they?
right here. These ones are almost ripe. A little bit longer and it'll almost be ripe.
You can pick the orange one. Pick one orange one. We grow a lot of different things. This year, because of the coronavirus, I had to deliberately bring a little more diversity back into the farm and grow instead of growing large amounts of fewer things, I needed to inject a little more diversity in, since we don't really know what our markets are. So this year we are growing more salad mix and head lettuce and bok choy and some things that I'd sort of moved away from. We obviously grow tomatoes and peppers and stuff. I tend to be known for the winter storage crops. It's because we just go really heavy with crops that you grow through the summer and put away and sell in the winter, like beets, carrots, onions, cabbage, kohlrabi, turnips, stuff like that. Everybody grows that stuff, but we grow a lot of it, and so we tend to not run out. So in the winter, we have a pretty good market share of that stuff. So here's kale that we planted last fall, and there it is, plugging away. And that's part of the no-till thing that's sort of fun. We have some head lettuces and the other ones that are coming back for like the 3rd time, because we never rototilled their roots up. Before the coronavirus, 90% of our sales were to restaurants. And so now it's mid-June, and as it stands, starting a few days ago, I've lost track. I used to keep track and it became too heart-wrenching, so I stopped keeping track. But restaurants are now allowed to serve people outdoors. It was just takeout. So who really knows? We're sort of at a turning point in the summer. There's a lot of hope. I feel badly for all the hope, because all we can do is hope, and it feels like the restaurants are really being crushed by everything that's going on, and consequently we are. But unlike the restaurants, we can just sell our stuff to other people. I went from delivering to restaurants twice a week, year-round for years, to it just stopped, just like for them. They went from being open 7 days a week, 6 days a week, whatever they were, for however many years, and then one day they're just closed and no one really knows, what the next move is. So that was us as well. We just stopped everything. I didn't even, no more emails to them, no more coming up with lists and everything. But unlike them, who just kind of were like struggling with how to put everybody on unemployment and how to handle the logistics of a lot of that, we were out straight. So it was weird, but it wasn't painful because we literally couldn't keep up with demand from the stores during the sort of manic period there. There's this wonderful sentiment that it's all about local right now, and thank God for the farms, and it's more important than ever. And on the other hand, I don't know, man, us farmers are always right where the rubber hits the road. Like, what do people mean? How much money do they really have? How much time do they have to dedicate to shopping locally? It's not as convenient. There's so many things about it that are challenging, and I really don't know what to ask of people or what to expect during these times. There's been a lot of grant money and funding and loans floating around, which I'm so grateful for. These greenhouses were given to me by the Natural Resource Conservation Service. You've probably never heard of it. It only exists to service farmers and help them preserve soil and water quality. When anyone gives a grant, they want to see that it's used right. They want to see that the funds were used appropriately and productively. And I think I've done a great job with each greenhouse they've given me. They've been very pleased with how quickly I construct it, how I construct it exactly how they like, how I put extra care into it, like with the site preparation, because they don't pay you for that. And then how well I manage them. I mean, this is great in here, if I say so myself. Like if you were from the NRCS and you dropped by to check on your grant that you gave out for this greenhouse, you would walk in here and say, I can't think of a better use for this building. Carrots and peppers, eggplants and peas, carrots and peppers. Then there's potatoes, salad mix, and pole beans. We hung this up about a week ago. And so the beans are just gonna fill this. They're probably actually gonna go all the way up into the rafters, but it may be a problem picking them. And these are very, very early potatoes. They can share a bed because they're using different parts of the space. The potato greens are gonna eventually cover this whole bed, but the beans are up and out of the way. There's some carrots. But we already got potatoes down here. Look at that guy growing in midair. We need to come in here and throw some hay on here. I seeded carrots in here in October, and I think it was just a little later than was doable for the seed. And so I watered it and covered it, and the idea was to be able to pick full-size carrots in March or April. And almost none of them grew. But the ones that did grow, it worked. They did awesome. So there's sort of a weed in here. Because it was no-till, we didn't have to get rid of them to plant the potatoes. We just planted the potatoes alongside of it. And look at that. Nothing stuck to it. You see how easy that came out without a tool or anything? And that's part of this no-till thing. And it's a change for us, and it's really exciting.
Have one, Papa?
Look at that. Look at that carrot. Well, peas and carrots are probably Anna's two favorite foods on earth, so she's in heaven sitting right where she is. Anna moved to this farm when she was 9 months old. Hugo was born here. Every greenhouse in every area, we try to have some flowers blooming at all times as well to attract pollinators. Borage we always grow a lot of because our chefs go crazy for that flower right there. There's really no other blue food. Even blueberries aren't blue. But anyway, it tastes like a cucumber. Ishmael, you want to eat that? And Ishmael was obviously born here too. He's the youngest. The NRCS also gave us this composting pad. The idea is to have a surface that the tractor doesn't destroy. It preserves soil quality, to not be constantly churning the soil with your tires. It obviously makes life way easier, but that's actually secondary to not silting up waterways and releasing too many nutrients. So this entire thing funnels any runoff over to that corner, and then there's a giant swale here that sort of distributes the water, and so that's why they give grant money for this sort of thing. So even though there's not much on here right now, we've actually already moved about 10 or 20 tons of stuff through here just this spring. So yes, this has made life way easier. And you can ride your tricycle on it. Here's some outdoor crops. So we got fennel, cabbage, radicchio again, lettuce, kale, chard. Some of it goes to our farm stand, but our farm stand's probably only 10% of our sales right now, 20%, something like that. We would love if it were more, and if fate takes things that way, we would love to do nothing but sell from the farm stand one day. But for now, we're still running things all over the state, really. We go to a lot of stores, also other farms. We sell to other farms that resell the stuff. In the restaurants, we'll see. We'll see how they do. No one knows. You could have a conversation with all the chefs in Portland all day long and come out of it not knowing. No one has any better idea than anyone else how they're all gonna fare this year. We hope we can have that customer base back. That's definitely what we've built our whole thing on here is restaurants. I mean, before 3 months ago, all I would have been talking about is restaurants and all what my chefs like and what we grow for them. And I mean, fava beans, I cut that down. This is like 10% of what I would have grown because it's restaurants that like fava beans. Retail outlets can't sell much fava beans to the farm stand or at farmer's market. That's a chef thing. I think we're at a real crossroads, not just farms, but as a society right now, that I can't really guess which road anyone's gonna choose. I know what I'm doing. I chose a life and a lifestyle and a set of ethics long before this that hopefully are gonna just sort of sail us right through this, and we'll see who comes with us and what that looks like.